Hi everyone, this is the LEGO Creator 3-in-1 Medieval Horse Knight Castle, and I built this set without the instructions. I posted the full build video on my YouTube channel at the link in this corner right here, and now I'm going to recap the build and my thoughts on the set overall. This is a set that costs 120 euros, 130 US dollars, or 150 Canadian dollars, which is the price that I paid, and it was available starting from August 1st at LEGO stores and on LEGO.com and other retailers as well. And at first glance, it's a very nice set to get with very interesting minifigures, but before we get into those details, here's a look at the speed build and the building phases. In this set, we got 11 numbered bags, numbered from 1 to 11, with 11 being very small. Here are all the components of the castle put side by side. So this is bag 1 with this tower, bag 2 builds this part at the front gate basically, bag 3 builds this other corner with a bit of foliage, bag 4 builds these 2 brick-built horses, bags 5, 6, 7, and 8 build the main part of the castle, which I will show you again shortly, bag 9 builds this part of the tower, and bag 10 and 11 build the bedroom and the spire right here. Now it's time to put everything together for the castle. So we can actually start with these parts right here since they're the most obvious. So this one goes right here. And once it's attached, it's not super easy to remove. It's not like a modular building or anything like that. So that is something to keep in mind. The same thing applies to this thing here, although this one I do think is relatively easy to remove because there are only 2 studs on this side, 3 on this side. So this is basically the back of the castle, or the back part of it, and then we're going to add all the other stuff to the front. And so now we have put all these different components together into this castle, and this is the default formation, but you can readjust this. Well, first of all, you can move this around a little bit, so that is something that is possible, but beyond that, you can also deconstruct these pieces and rearrange them as you like. There's multiple ways that you can do this, and I'll show you an example. But before we do all that, let's take a look at the minifigures first. In this set, we got 6 minifigures, and here are the first 3. So here's the king, plus a female knight, and another archer. So these are all very nice to get, and all of them are exclusive to the set. This backprint is the same as this backprint, so I will not remove this part, but the king has a different backprint right here, which is unique and also very well done, very regal, very appropriate. And even the legs are not the same, with the king getting some extra details right there. And this is pearl silver, so it's a very nice color to get. There's no side printing for any of them, which is a little bit unfortunate, but at the same time, this is a creator set, and these are the first minifigures that we got from this theme for a long time, so I'm not going to complain too much. So the king and this female archer do have alternative expressions, but the queen does not. And yes, I know that she is not looking like a queen right now, but she can become a queen simply by giving her this included hairpiece with crown. So both these pieces are included in the set and shown on the box for one of the alternative builds, but since they're quote-unquote extra pieces for the main build, you can always take them and put them on the queen, and she looks very nice indeed. And yeah, it's a nice combination of pieces. And fun fact, this also was used for Princess Leia of Star Wars, the exact same hairpiece, and it's also used in LEGO Friends. And the crown piece right here has actually appeared before, around a decade ago, for one of the collectible minifigures. LEGO brought it back for this king, and I'm very happy that they did, because I've been wanting to get this piece for a very long time. And even this piece is new in blue. We did see this piece before, but never in the blue color before. So all of these minifigures have something unique about them, which is great. We also got a 4th minifigure in this faction of horse knights, and that's this guy right here. It was very similar to the other minifigures, same torso and legs, but then he has a different headpiece as well as the spear, and there is this hairpiece that is included in the set, so you could give him some hair as well if you want him to be a civilian. He has this nice big spear as well, so that's a nice minifigure to get. And we did see this guy before in LEGO City, and I believe the yellow construction crane or one of the other construction vehicles, so it's nice to see him here again. So perhaps it's the same guy, or maybe it's his evil twin brother. You never know, maybe the other guy is evil. So yeah, these are a nice collection of minifigures. I think these 4 could potentially represent a family with the mother, the father, and the 2 siblings. That's definitely a possibility. Of course, you can always make your own stories. So these first 4 minifigures are great. And then we have this serpent warrior or serpentine or snake faction guy. So he's probably one of the enemies or maybe a rival nation. And we have this peasant or servant or villager, whatever you want to call him. So this minifigure is great to get. This minifigure is pretty standard. Nothing very unusual here, although the torso is new. We have not seen this exact torso before, although we have seen similar. This is new. It's very nice to get. This is new, the flame piece in just regular yellow. We have not seen that before, surprisingly enough. This guy gets a cape, which is very nice. Underneath the cape, we have some back printing, which is done very well, and the same pattern appears at the front. So I do love that pattern of gray, silver, and the light shines right across it, as well as a little bit of purple. So that's pretty nice to get. And this guy does have an alternative expression. So here's one of his expressions, the evil mustache, and here he's worried or afraid. So definitely an interesting character, and possibly a reference to Ninjago, because I know in Ninjago they have lots of serpentine, so this could be a reference to that. And the yellow and black also reminds me of Blacktron. This guy, on the other hand, has no alternative expression, unfortunately. But this expression is something we've seen a lot with fishermen and other related characters in LEGO medieval related sets. The only thing I don't understand is why this guy has blue jeans. At least I interpret these pants as blue jeans, even though we're in a medieval setting where jeans have not been invented yet. So I think if they gave him tan legs or brown legs, dark brown or something like that, and along those lines, I think it would have made more sense for this character. But that's something you can very easily fix on your own. But to summarize, I do love the minifigures in this set. They give us some extra hair pieces to give to the characters. You can also give the black hair piece to this guy, for example. So like that's always nice to get these extra pieces with LEGO sets, so you don't have to go buy them from the LEGO store separately. So yeah, great minifigure selection. I would not have complained if they added a 7th or 8th minifigure, or if they gave us more hair pieces, but even as it is, it's perfectly fine for a LEGO creator set. The other living things in this set are these 2 horses. They both have identical builds, so I'll show you just one of them in great detail, and the other one I'll just show you the colors. This one's a bit easier to see because of the white and blue. So we have here a completely brick-built horse. I do like what they did in the head overall, in general, but I just wish that they gave us some eyes. Like if they printed this piece, and just this piece with the eyes, could even be the same print on this side and this side. Here's an approximation of what that would look like, a very rough approximation. I think that would have been a better choice if they printed these. So yeah, there's still some articulation. The head can go up and down. You can kind of twist it side to side, although I don't know if that's intended or not, because you can also break these pieces off. You have this flag that's very easy to knock off because it's held by just this hollow stud and it cannot go in very deep. So that's maybe something to improve on slightly by adding like a few more hollow pieces here so it's held on more securely. So yeah, you have like this, or maybe the goal is to knock it off easily. So like in jousting, you can easily knock off a flag to defeat your opponent. So the tail is not very convincing. This does not look like a horse tail to me, but maybe it's intended to attach other things here. And the legs have an interesting angle to them, like the choice of pieces used makes it appear as if they're legs when you look at them from far away and you're not like super fixating on what these are. So yeah, this kind of looks like a horse from far away, and you kind of get the idea that it is a horse. The minifigures have to stand here, they cannot sit, but that is standard even for the Lego molded horses, which I'll bring out to compare in just a moment. It's the same thing. I do like the pattern here that's done to cover up the studs on the side construction, as well as just give it a nice banner, a nice texture, something that we don't usually see from Lego horses. So yeah, that's what this looks like from the front. On the other side, it's symmetrical, and here's what it looks like from the bottom. It's really crazy with all these weird colors that don't really need to be there, but they did this to help young builders build the horse more easily. So yeah, quite an interesting horse. Here's the other one with an identical build. So I'm not going to repeat everything that I said, but basically it's a nice color scheme and it reminds me of Blacktron. So yeah, nice horses right there. And you can fit the minifigures inside them as we've seen a bit earlier. So by default, it's the king that goes here, and it's this serpent guy that goes on the other one. And here's what that would look like in context. So that's a nice look right there. And here's a comparison with a molded horse. So this came in some Lego City sets, some Lego Icon sets. You can see here, like, this is much more close to being a horse. If you show this to anyone on the street who doesn't know anything about Lego, they're going to be like, yeah, this is a horse. But they might not know what this is. They might have to guess. This is kind of like a horse, but it's not really like a horse, and especially the face or the head. So maybe Lego could have molded just the head, so you brick build the whole horse, but then you attach like a head piece. That could be one thing. Or maybe just print the eyes to make it more realistic, because this does not look too much like a horse to me. This looks very much like a horse. And this one does have some articulation. I'm not going to focus too much on this because it's not included in this set, but it does have like some articulation, and you can put the minifigures in here if you want to. So that's how you would also attach minifigures, and they would be standing in this case as well. And it looks like the head can move as well. So this actually has more articulation for the head and the rear legs than the brick-built horse, although you could modify this to give it more articulation. This one you cannot modify because it's just a single piece. So there's pros and cons to each approach, and let me know in the comments down below which one do you prefer. And these are horses that we build in one building phase while we're building some parts of the castle, then we take a break from the castle, we build the horses, then we get back to the castle. I do like that for people who do build bag by bag. Whether or not you're using the instructions, that is a nice way to design the build experience. But with that being said, now we can move on to the castle itself, and I'll place the minifigures at various parts of it just to give a sense of scale, so you have an idea of how large this thing actually is. This thing is quite large, so it barely fits in frame. It's a lot larger than you might think it is, just because a lot of the space on the inside here is actually hollow, but it does take up space in the filming area. So I'll just spin this around, just so you get an idea of it, and it is wider than it is deep. So it's much more wide than deep, just to keep that in mind. It has more footprint than a modular building, although it's more hollow and has less stuff overall. So in other words, a modular building would be more dense and compacted. I just realized now that this thing disconnected, but we've seen everything from pretty much every angle, so I'll just take the opportunity to disconnect it right now. And basically, well, you could actually have it open like this, and basically use your imagination to fill the rest, so you can have like a pretty big castle. You can even buy 2 of these sets and build something similar over here, and just have a massive play space, so lots of kids can play in this area right here, or you could add your own creations, maybe bring in the horses, etc., and just go to town with this thing. So lots and lots of possibilities right there. But for now, I'll just disconnect it from here because I want to show you something cool. And that is the fact that this can actually be turned into a structure onto itself. You can close it off like this. It does clip together securely, and you have like a mini castle right here. So there's not a lot of building here. So it's more of a fortification than a castle, but it's nice, it's respectable. It has like that tower over there with the flag. It has everything you need basically. So very nice. And it's not really clear what we're fortifying here or what we're protecting from, but we do have this drawbridge, so I guess I'll take the time to show you this. In theory, if I lift this, the bridge is going to go down. Let's see if that actually happens. Okay, it happened now, but it does not always happen. So sometimes I lift this and then have to push it with my finger to make it go down. The mechanism is a little bit finicky. As we can see here, the way this works is that we roll this up, and we have these chains that pull this door up. So that's the idea behind it. And then let's try that one more time. Lift this, and yeah, it goes down. And I accidentally knocked over a minifigure. Sorry about that. Over here in this corner, we have some foliage. This tree looks a little bit wonky and weird, especially when you look at it straight from the side. But from here, it does look a little bit better. I don't understand why we have this 1x2 plate here that's not covered by anything. You could have like added a flower or 2 here just to not have like the brick or the plate be completely exposed like this, because this does not look very natural. I've never seen trees that are topped by plates before in real life. I do like the color combinations here. It seems to be very natural. It seems to be very organic. It's not just all using the same color. But I do say that if they added some masonry bricks to the facade, it would have made it look a lot more interesting, because right now, a lot of this is flat and lacking texture. That's even more apparent on the larger structure, which we'll look at in just a moment. But yeah, this is one part of the castle. It's basically the castle walls as well as the gate. So this actually does not take too much time to build. We build this in bags 1, 2, and 3, as we have seen before. And then we spend a lot of the rest of the build on this part of the castle, which is actually open back. So we do not have a fully enclosed castle, unfortunately, like what I was hoping for. But at least we do have a well-built castle, so there's lots of stuff here. So first we'll look at the outside and the facade, then we'll take a look inside. So we have here this door, which is completely brick built and fits rather well here. There's only a small gap, which is pretty common for medieval times, to be honest. And it looks like a heavy door, but basically you open it. This will take you to the dining area, the main room of the castle. There's this entryway right here, which looks like an entrance to the stables or the markets or something a bit more informal. This reminds me of like a tent or a cloth piece, and this piece is actually new in this color for this set, so it's a recolor. Very nice to get that. This is the door to the stables, and the horses can fit right here. It's time to put them away, but they do have to take off their flags. And same thing for fitting the horses through the main gate of this building right here. You do have to take off the flags for the horses to fit. So that might be a design compromise that they had to do, otherwise the thing would be too large and expensive. I do like this part of the facade. There's lots of visual interest with this shield that's completely brick built. This is nice actually. It's just built with 5 pieces, 1 plate and 4 tiles, and with these new tiles we can actually build this completely brick built instead of having to print a Nexolite shield, so that's very nice, and we will see this on the interior in a different color shortly. I do like the door, I do like this. There's lots of visual interest right here. I also like the Tudor right here for the upper room of the castle. This is a bedroom, and it's done in tan and black, similar to the Tudor corner, but done in a much simpler style. But still looks pretty nice, especially from afar when you don't really notice these hollow studs. And the roof is done nicely as well, although I wish there was a bit more variation between this side and this side, because right now it's just the exact same thing copy-pasted. And the tower is nice, and this spire specifically reminds me of Assembly Square, which uses the exact same pieces or very similar pieces to achieve its effect for its tower. So that's pretty nice. But speaking of towers, this tower right here, I do like this part. But I don't like these panels. I think they're very bland, very blank. There's not enough texture here. I wish there was like some masonry bricks included. I really don't like stickers, so I don't think LEGO should have put stickers on these, but if it had printed them, especially because it's the same piece used here, 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 and here, maybe this is one of those cases where it makes sense to print them, because in all 3 builds of the set, you will be using these for medieval related things, and I just think this is too flat and boring compared to the rest of the set, and it detracts a bit from the appearance. It's too smooth, it's too plasticky, and you want to go for that rustic medieval look, and so it just doesn't make that much sense to me. I'm not going to complain too much about it. I know it's a set for kids, and you got to use your imagination and all that, but I do want to point this out for adults who might be thinking of getting this set. But the good news is that if you are an adult, you can replace these panels with your own pieces and make this look much, much nicer with some interesting building techniques. You're going to build it at a 45-degree angle. You can turn this into an 18+ tower if you want to, with nice building style, but you have to spend a little bit of your own money and efforts to do that, which is okay, I guess. I know they have a certain part budget, and they don't want to go above that for this set, so it's important to keep that in mind. We do have here like a reference to the Lion Knight's castle, a little bit of an entryway for small animals, although none are included in this set. But if you have like a cat or a mouse or something, they can go into here, and then you close this door or foliage thing so that no one will notice this hole. You have a carrot, pretty big carrot compared to the size of a barrel, but I guess the proportions in the LEGO universe are different. And with that, we take a look at the interior of the set. So the stables right here are not super interesting. We just have like this chocolate swirl piece used here as a nice part usage for something else. We see here some cauldron with some evil potion brewing inside, although no such piece is provided, so you're going to have to imagine that. We have some stairs that take us up, and I do like these stairs, by the way. These are exactly the same kinds of designs that I would make as a child. So yeah, just very simple brick-built stairs to take you up to this level, although there's nothing here. You'll have to use your imagination to fill this up or steal some pieces from the rest of the set. But up here we have this thing. It looks like a desk with no chair. And I'm wondering if you're writing something with white ink here, or is it a cheese factory? I'm honestly not sure what this thing is, or maybe it's like a design type of thing where we're designing like a building that's in that structure. I really don't know. But that is a thing, at least. You have a torch here, and another torch up here, and you can have the minifigures grab these and use them whenever they're traveling, especially in the dark. Here is the bedroom. You just have a bed and not much else. You have this tiny fireplace as well, which is very nicely done for its size. It's one of the smallest fireplaces I've ever seen. Only a few pieces used to make it, but it's done really well in my opinion. And you have the bed itself, which is also well done. I like the use of these tiles right here. So it gives it a bit of texture, a bit of visual interest. And the headrest is done nicely as well. It looks like a very comfortable bed for a minifigure, probably for the king or queen. And there's only space for one minifigure here. Here there's only one stud of space, so you can only put the minifigures facing forward. So this is very, very narrow, which I really wish they just expanded that just a little bit. But it is what it is, I guess. And so finally we go to the dining room, and here is the other shield that I mentioned in the green and yellow. So that looks very nice. It reminds me of John Deere. Maybe it's a reference to it. You have a table for 4 people here, including an upside down apple, a cherry, and a chicken, which is right next to the throne for the king. So that's a very nice throne right there, and I do like the way they did the curtains with very few pieces, but still it looks nice. You have a golden cup right here, or goblet, for use by the king. So yeah, it's a pretty nice, although minimalistic feast, and that's all you get in this castle. So before I give my thoughts on the castle overall, I'll just point out that it is possible for minifigures to go from the ground floor to the bedroom, and this is how. So basically you have a minifigure that's going to go up these stairs, and then through here. It's easier without the accessories, I guess. So basically they go through that, and then they go up these steps, and here they're at the door. So they can enter into the bedroom and go to sleep. It helps if you're not carrying a big spear, but that's what a minifigure looks like in the bed. Well, it's probably the king who's going to be sleeping here, and not this guy, so this guy is going to get punished later. So yeah, that's an interesting experience to basically play with minifigures all around. We also have this hammer for minifigures to use. So yeah, lots of good things in the set, lots of play value. These roofs can open if you want, although they don't go all the way because they're blocked by these pieces. So yeah, lots of good stuff here. And you can reconfigure this back into the main castle, have everything flat. You can also rearrange these items because they're all held together by clips. So you could do something like this with everything being put together side by side as if it's a flat facade. So with this, you really see the set in a different light. You get to see the value of the set better. You have all this stuff, and then of course you can bring it closer together, and this is going to be slightly different from the default thing shown at the front of the box, but you can also make things work this way if you want. So This is an alternative arrangement for the pieces in this set, and you can basically play with this and adjust it to your liking, which I always appreciate. The set also has this treasure chest that includes these gold coins, these jewels, this unicorn horn, as well as this gold chain. And on top of all of that, it can be rebuilt into this build right here for a jousting tournament, or this windmill type of medieval structure right here. Here you can see the queen on the box along with the sheep, so very interesting builds as well. And that's true for all the LEGO Creator 3-in-1 sets. So I'd say, given the exclusive minifigures, given the large pieces, even though I do think they're a bit boring, and given the immense play value of the set, I do think that the set is worth the $130 US asking price, or $150 Canadian. Of course, it would be good to get this on discount, but even the regular retail price is not that bad. What do you think? Let me know in the comments down below, and be sure to like and subscribe for more amazing videos coming your way very soon. Bye for now.